Hey guys, welcome back to Carson Beans. Today we're doing the second to last regular season predictions. We got NFL Week 16 score predictions. I am so hyped for playoffs. Also, before we start, just had to tell you guys, I hope you guys have happy holidays. I know not everybody celebrates Christmas, but if you do, Merry Christmas. If not, I hope you had a good month, I guess. I don't know. Let's go ahead and get into this thing. It's going to be a pretty crazy week. Also, who watches football on Christmas Day? I don't know. I kind of understand why they wouldn't, have Thursday night football because it's Christmas Eve and all that. But whatever. Saints Vikings. We have a game to talk about. This actually is a pretty important game. I know the Vikings. They're technically, still in it, but they're basically out of it. It would take a really, really long shot, but still, this is a pretty important game. One for the Saints because they are trying to get back up into the number one seed and get the bye week in the playoffs. And the Vikings are, they are still, fighting for a playoff spot. They do still, want to end up playing in the postseason. So the Saints, they got Drew Brees back last week, and he wasn't 100%. He was a bit rusty. Obviously, he broke 11 ribs. I'm going to guess that, he's gotten, a week to prepare. He's gotten, a lot more time to I think he'll be a lot better in this one. He went against that Vikings defense that has been a pretty big weakness for them all year. Yeah, I doubt that the Vikings will be able to stop them. I think the Saints get a win here 30-23, and I think that knocks the Vikings out of the playoffs. I'm not exactly sure. Next up, we got one of our Saturday games, the Lions versus Buccaneers. The Buccaneers got a nice comeback victory against the Falcons last week. Meanwhile, the Lions got blown out by the Titans to get knocked out of the playoff race. The Buccaneers, they're going to be against a Lions team that really at this point is playing for draft position, but I don't expect them to try to lose. I think this one actually could be a good game with the Lions offense, which, I know they lost by a lot, but their offense, they go out there and score 26 points against a pretty tough Titans defense, in my opinion. So I definitely think their offense is stepping it up. So I definitely think this one could be, no, there's really no chance in my opinion. I think the Buccaneers get a win here 31-21. It's not my lock of the week because I do think there is a small chance that if the Lions offense continues to go in the right direction and maybe speed that process up a bit, then I definitely think the Lions could get a shocker win here, but I think the Buccaneers continue their push into the playoffs. Next up, Cardinals against the 49ers. This one should be pretty, they basically, I think what they do is they take all the games that, are pretty bad and they put them on Saturday. I don't know why they do that, but all the Saturday games are not very, exciting. We got Cardinals, 49ers. The 49ers have been knocked out of the playoffs, and what I think they are officially out of the playoffs at this point. I think Jimmy G is doubtful for this game, so I'm just going to assume that he will not be playing in this game Saturday. And, when he's not in there, I think it's going to be either C.J. Beathard or Josh Johnson. I think it's C.J. Beathard, who played pretty well last week, but I don't think he played well enough to get past this Cardinals defense that has been pretty well. And this Cardinals offense that is possibly, especially earlier in the season, one of the best in the league. I doubt that they'll have a really good chance. 28-20. I definitely think that this one could turn again in the 49ers' favor. C.J. Beathard plays really, really well. C.J. Beathard hasn't necessarily looked bad when he's been out there. The times he's been out there, they've been like running 2-minute drills and stuff. We haven't seen how well he's played in like a normal game situation. Next up, the final Saturday game, we've got Raiders against the Dolphins. The Raiders are in a downward spiral. They've lost, I think, 2 out of the last 3 or 3 out of the last 4. They've got a lot worse over the past couple of weeks. Now they're going to meet the Dolphins team that is highly underrated and is desperately trying to make the playoffs. I think they've got like a 40% chance at making it, even though they're in, just because they've got such a rough team in the Ravens behind them. But I do, in my opinion, looking at how good that Dolphins defense has been playing, and Tua Tagovailoa has come into this league and played really, really well. Definitely, not amazing, but he's definitely playing pretty well. The Raiders, that downward spiral, I think, will continue, and I think they get a rough loss here, 35-27. Now, again, the Raiders' offense has shown a lot of flashes earlier in this season, notably the Saints and the Chiefs games, but that was a while ago, and I definitely don't think that they will win this game. I think the Dolphins continue to push for the playoffs. Next up, Ravens against the Giants. The Giants, they really have to win this game. Basically, for every single NFC East team this week, it's a must-win game. Because if the Giants lose this game and Washington beats the Panthers, which you'll see later, I kind of, I'm not gonna spoil it. You'll see what I think about that Panthers game in a bit. But the Ravens, Giants, the Ravens are heating up at the right time. These past 2 weeks they've been dominant. Well, not dominant, but their offense has been dominant. I guess that Browns team, they managed to drop 45 points offensively. I know they scored 2 on defense. That's why it was 47. Their defense kind of didn't look too good 2 weeks ago. Last week wasn't the case. They held the Jaguars to 14 points. They got a nice blowout win there. Now they're going against the Giants, a lot of people keep talking about how badly they've started doing. They've been playing the same way. Their defense has definitely been their bright spot. They've just been going up against some tough offenses, and their offense has been horrendous all year. Even in those 4-game winning streak, they weren't scoring like crazy. They haven't really had too many high-scoring games. And going up against this Ravens team that has a really high-powered offense, going up against that defense and a pretty good enough defense to stop the Giants' offense. In my opinion, I do think the Giants will get blown out here, 38-24. Now, if Washington manages to beat the Panthers this week, this would mean that Washington would clinch the NFC East. But if Washington loses, they still have a chance next week to jump back on top. Next up, Chiefs against the Falcons. The Falcons with a tough loss against the Buccaneers last week. They were up 24-7 in the third quarter, and then they just let Tom Brady come back yet again. The Chiefs had a pretty close win against the Saints. They looked pretty good offensively doing it. Really looked good on both sides of the ball every single week. And the Falcons, it's just rough over there. In my opinion, I don't think there's really any chance for the Falcons. The Chiefs get a win here. It was pretty close to being my lock of the week, but that Falcons offense, again, has shown flashes, like I say, with a lot of teams. I do think there's obviously, even last week, I definitely do think there's a chance that the Falcons do come back. If you're wondering why I'm talking so weird, it's because it is early and I've heard some bad news. Next up, Jets against the Browns. The Jets managed to get their first win last week and probably give Trevor Lawrence over the Jaguars. The sad thing is, Jets fans probably a lot of Jets fans are celebrating that win. But really, you have set the Jaguars up. Trevor Lawrence is going to be one of the best quarterbacks probably for a while now. So y'all had a chance to basically set your franchise up for success, and you just completely just blew it away, or destroyed. I don't know. And then we have the Browns, who had a nice win last week against the Giants. I think it was 20-6. That I know they didn't score too many points, but then again, they were going against that Giants defense that has been playing lights out these past couple of weeks. And in my opinion, I do think they played pretty well in that one. Now they're going to the Jets team. I think the Jets do have a chance to keep it close, but in the end, I do think they will sit there and say, hey, we got our win, now we have to lose. Because I think they didn't want to go 0-16. I think, they wanted to at least go 1-15. And now they've got that win, I don't think they have a chance. I don't think they have a reason to keep winning. I do think the Browns are going to win here 27-17. Now, this is if the Jets aren't trying to tank. If the Jets are trying to tank, it's much worse. Next up, the next game we're going to be talking about. Oh, I forgot to mention this is my lock of the week. I know the score isn't necessarily too large of a margin, but this is the game that I'm most assured of. I know, with the Ravens game, I had a 14-point win, but it wasn't my lock of the week because I am not as sure that the Ravens win as I am sure that the Browns will get a win here and continue their push for the AFC North. Next up, Jaguars against the Bears. The Jaguars got absolutely demolished by the Ravens last week. They've looked terrible for the past 13 weeks, and I don't see that, changing this week. The Bears, it's weird because they had a 6-game losing streak, but now they got a 2-game winning streak, and they are back in the thick of things in the NFC. They do still need a long shot for them to get back into the playoffs. I think I don't know. I think it'll take a lot, but I don't think that this will hurt them. I think the Bears get a nice win here, 28-24. The Jaguars, I think they can make it close, but I definitely don't think they will win. The Bears, stay alive. I don't know. I think the Cardinals could win this week. I'm not sure. I really don't know. Next up, Texans against the Bengals. The Bengals got a nice win, a nice statement win against the Steelers, 27-17. While the Texans, rough loss against the against the Colts. Sorry, they played them for the second time in 3 weeks, and it was a slightly worse game for them. I do think, in this one, Deshaun Watson. I think if the Bengals actually win this one, the Texans will. No, it won't be it'll be the Dolphins. I'm sorry. They traded their pick. But anyways, I definitely do think the Texans get the win here just because of that great offense. 31-23. Could see something happen, especially if Ryan Finley has another 101 quarterback rating game. I definitely think that the Bengals do have a shot to get their fourth win here. But I don't know if they necessarily want to, because right now they are in as good as a spot as they can be. They can't get the second or first overall, but they are right now in the third overall, and I want to keep that if I was them. Next up, Steelers against the Colts. The Steelers right now are trying to hold on to that AFC North division. If they win here, they clinch. If they lose here, then next week will be for the division if the Browns win, which I think they will. Obviously, it's my lock of the week. But the Steelers, tough loss. They've had 3 really bad losses in a row to Washington, the Bills, and the Bengals. Meanwhile, the Colts have been playing really well. They got a nice win last week against the Texans, and the week before that against the Raiders. That was really a dominant win. I think this one will be a pretty good game. 2 really good defenses going at it against each other. That being said, I definitely think the Colts offense is much, much better than the Steelers. And I think overall the Colts, especially over these past 3 weeks, are a much better team than the Steelers. They get a win here 26-20. If the Steelers amp up their play and they play like they did in the first 11 weeks, because yes, they were highly overrated in my opinion. I had them at first in the power rankings. Looking back was pretty dumb. They definitely were a really good team and good enough to beat the Colts. But right now, the way things have been going, I think the Colts get a win here. Let's keep on going. The Washington football team against the Panthers. This one is going to be a very, very interesting one. It is one of the later games. By the time this game is starting, we will know if this is for the playoffs. So we will know, because the Ravens-Giants game is at 1 and this game is at 4. So by the time this game starts, we will know if Washington is playing to clinch a playoffs or if they're playing to stay alive. Right now, the Panthers, Christian McCaffrey right now is doubtful. I don't know. I don't know if their offense, they played pretty well last week, keeping up with the 49ers, but Washington, they are also very, very injury-ridden, possibly could be again this week, and they are going up against, not the 49ers, sorry, the Packers. They are going up against and they were going up against the Seahawks, sorry. It was a 20-15 game. They almost managed to come back. Now, here's the way about Washington. Alex Smith and Antonio Gibson are both questionable. Alex Smith says that he expects to play. Antonio Gibson says that he expects to play. They have been practicing, but we don't know. They are both questionable. I am not sure. I am going to assume from what I have heard, what I have seen, Antonio Gibson, from what I've heard, is going to be in this game, and Alex Smith is likely not to be. If that is the case, this is whenever I made this prediction yesterday, what I had seen was that it is most likely, in my opinion, from what I have heard, that it will be Antonio Gibson and Dwayne Haskins playing for this offense. And yes, Dwayne Haskins is going to start. He's already got his punishment. He had his captain's badge taken away, and he was fined $40,000 for that. Those pictures that were taken. If you don't know, I'm not going to say it just because there might be 5-year-olds here watching my videos. But anyways, I definitely think that Washington will get the win, mainly because of that dominant defense that showed itself late in that last game. Now, if Alex Smith is in this game, I think you can bump up Washington's score to 35. It won't change anything about the Panthers' score. Now, I don't think Kevin Pierre-Louis or Cole Holcomb will be back from Washington. So if Christian McCaffrey is in for the Panthers, they could have a really good chance against Washington. If Christian McCaffrey is back, you can change it to like 29-28 in my opinion. The Panthers will definitely have a pretty big chance. Next up, Chargers against the Broncos. The Chargers got a shocking win in Thursday Night Football against the Raiders. They were really helped by the fact that Derek Carr got injured, but anyways. And then the Broncos, who are the Broncos? I completely forgot. Yeah, they got completely demolished, blown out by the Bills. They look terrible. You can't really bounce back from that, in my opinion. I mean, that's what's starting here. The Chargers get a win here 28-17. We're starting to see how good the Chargers can be. These past 2 weeks, they are playing up to in my opinion, their potential. They are playing as well as Chargers fans hoped they would. And it's really kind of sad to see them do it this late in the season. Next up, Cowboys against the Eagles. These two teams are desperately trying to stay alive. If the Eagles win, they will knock the Cowboys out of the playoffs. If the Cowboys win, I don't think it's over for the Eagles just yet. I'm not sure, though. The Cowboys have to win out, and Washington has to lose out. And as you see, I already predicted Washington to win, so if that is the case, the Cowboys will already be eliminated. But anyways, the Cowboys, their offense has finally started stepping it up. Their defense, it looked really good 2 weeks ago, but last week didn't look too amazing. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts is definitely the answer. He's been playing amazing. We've started, a lot of people who were saying like, "Oh, it was a system." Carson Wentz isn't bad. Now they've put in a rookie quarterback who is somewhat okay. Now they've started playing really well. Yeah, I think it was Carson Wentz who was the problem. But I think that this one will be a pretty good divisional matchup between these two teams. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one be pretty close, I guess. But in the end, I definitely think the Eagles will get the win here, 35-24. And the Cowboys, with them losing and Washington winning both ways, about as bad as a week as it could be for the Cowboys, I think they get knocked out of the playoffs. All right. Well, I think all three of these teams do. All three of the NFC East teams do because I have Washington winning, but whatever. Next up, Seahawks against the Rams. It's going to be a rematch from a few weeks ago. Rams won that one, and we'll see what happens in this one. The Seahawks I know it was a win, but it was a pretty close win, a pretty worrying win in my opinion. They went up against a very injured Washington team that was 6-7, and they barely managed to pull out a win. Their defense started their offense, started to play pretty badly in that third and fourth quarter. I mean, they had one good 50-yard run, which was really amazing, but that was about it. That was their only spark they got in the second half. That was when they got their only points, and that was when really they had their best drive. Meanwhile, the Rams, they went out there last week, and they lost to the Jets. Ooh. In my opinion, I do still think they'll get the win here, but it would have been by a much bigger margin. It would have been 38-31 or 38-28 or something like that if their defense hadn't, not done too well last week. So, in my opinion, I do think they get the win here. I do think they, make some moves in that division, but it is going to go both ways. This is going to be a really, really good game. Moving on to Sunday Night Football, we have the Packers against the Titans. The Titans got a dominant win last week against the Lions. It was a score, I think it was like 45-26 or something. It was a pretty weird score, but the Titans did get a dominant win. Meanwhile, the Packers, they went out last week. They squeaked out a win against the Panthers. It got pretty, it got pretty close there towards the end, but really the Packers are winning the whole time. This one should be a really good Sunday Night Football matchup. The Packers are trying to hold on to that first seed. The Titans are trying to clinch playoffs. And in my opinion, I do think the Packers will get a win here, 34-31, just because of how powered that offense has been. I don't know why it sounds so country. How powered that offense has been. Next up, Monday Night Football, Patriots against the Bills. The Bills officially clinched the division. The Patriots will not be making the playoffs. Let's all give a round of applause for, just finally not having to watch the Patriots play in the playoffs. They were one and done last year, but that wasn't enough. Now they're going to miss the Bills, who really, they were dominated all over the Broncos last week. I don't expect anything different this week. The Bills get a nice win here, 35-23, and that will end this video. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way through. Please subscribe here on this channel. We post NFL content every single day. We do recaps, reactions, predictions. Obviously, as you're watching now, we do power rankings, all that kind of stuff. You can find all that on my channel right now. So please go ahead and watch all that. But yeah, thank you guys all so much for watching this video. Please like it and subscribe, and I will hope to see you in